This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Hello viewers, you're watching Pulse of Africa. I'm Samia Mohammed for the main news. First, our top stories for today. Ethiopian Airlines and Etihad Airways launch joint venture. AU welcomes Doha talks between DR Congo and Rwanda leaders. UN envoys called for urgent measures to de-escalate tensions in South Sudan. Arab states meet as renewed Israeli attacks surge. Now, the news in detail. The head of the United Nations mission in South Sudan, Nicholas Haysom, wants South Sudan President Salva Kiir and Vice President Riek Machar to urgently meet and address their differences constructively to reduce tensions in the country. Haysom also wants the two leaders to jointly address the nation as a show of unity. He said the parties must de-escalate the current political tensions now before it's too late. Haysom underlined there is only one path out of this cycle of conflict, and that is through the revitalized argument. UN Humanitarian Coordinator for South Sudan, Anita Kiki-Gebao, said the ongoing violence on South Sudan has already displaced 5,000 people, including 10,000 who have crossed into neighboring Ethiopia. Now to DR Congo and Rwanda. The African Union has welcomed talks in Qatari capital Doha between the heads of the states of Rwanda and Democratic Republic of the Congo as fighting rages on in the mineral-rich eastern DRC. In a statement on Wednesday, AU Chairperson Mohamed Ali Yusuf commended the two countries for their commitment to dialogue and urged all parties to maintain the momentum. The chairperson said the African Union remains resolute in its support for African-led solutions to African challenges, he added. The Doha discussions held in a spirit of constructive engagement align with these efforts and complement ongoing regional mechanisms. The leaders issued a statement that called for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire, details whose implementation will be clarified in the coming days. Meanwhile, the M23 rebel group, which is at the center of the conflict in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, seized the town of Wilikali on Wednesday. The town is reported to be an area rich in minerals. The rebels, allegedly supported by the Rwandan army, took over the town almost without fighting, according to local media reports. Walikali was under threat from the rebels and the Wazalendo, a group of civilian militants linked to Congolese army. The move came a day after Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi and his Rwanda counterpart Paul Kagame called for an immediate ceasefire and an unconditional cessation of hostilities during talks in Doha, Qatar. Moving on to our next story. Groups from 5 African countries filed fraud and corruption complaints accusing French billionaire Vincent Bolloré and one of his sons of illegally obtaining and benefiting from port concessions. Bolloré's group's African ports and logistics business employed more than 20,000 people in 20 African countries, running 16 ports as well as warehouses and transport hubs across the continent. Cyril Bolloré, his youngest son, became head of Bolloré's African logistics in 2019, taking over from his father. The group's lawyers managed to negotiate a settlement, but French financial prosecutors in 2024 requested Vincent Bolloré be tried on charges of corruption and complicity in breach of trust. In other news, US President Donald Trump has held what he described as very good hour-long phone call with his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky a day after speaking to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Zelensky said afterwards that he believed that lasting peace can be achieved this year under Trump's leadership. Possible US ownership of Ukraine's nuclear power plants was also discussed, the White House said, although Zelensky later stated this was only about the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia facility. The tone of the call seems to be in contrast of Zelensky's visit to White House last month, in which the two leaders, along with US Vice President J.D. Vance, were involved in a tense exchange. Now to the Middle East. The Palestinian representative to the Arab League on Wednesday called for sanctions against Israel in response to recent Israeli attacks on the Gaza Strip that have killed hundreds of people. Israel launched heavy airstrikes across the Gaza Strip early Tuesday that killed more than 430 Palestinians, local health officials said. During an Arab League session in Cairo, Palestinian Permanent Representative Mohammed Aklok said that specific measures, including economic and political sanctions, could be taken to prevent Israel's offenses and expansions plans meant to displace Palestinians. The military says it only strikes militants and blames civilian bases on Hamas because it operates in densely populated areas.
The story of resurgent Ethiopia and burgeoning Africa is here, only on the Pulse of Africa channel, all the time. Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.
Turning to business news. Ethiopian Airlines and Etihad Airways have announced a strategic joint business agreement to enhance connectivity between Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. This partnership includes code-share arrangement and the introduction of new direct flights between Addis Ababa and Abu Dhabi, facilitating seamless travel for passengers and bolstering economic ties between the regions. As a part of this expansion, Ethiopian Airlines will launch flights to Abu Dhabi on July 15, while Etihad Airways will commence daily flights to Addis Ababa starting October 1. This move strengthens both airlines' networks, offering travelers enhanced flexibility and increased flight options. Ethiopian Airlines, the continent's largest airline, operates a modern and diverse fleet of over 140 aircrafts, ensuring efficiency and global connectivity. Its fleet includes. Finally, Chinese Vice Commerce Minister Wang Shouwen holds talk with Ramon Laguerta, chairman and CEO of U.S. company PepsiCo in Beijing, China. During the talk, Vice Commerce Minister Wang Shouwen said stable, healthy, and sustainable China-U.S. economic and trade relations align with both nations' fundamental interests and will benefit enterprises worldwide. Wang, also China's international trade representative, emphasized that China-U.S. economic trade relations are mutually beneficial and win-win in nature. Highlighting China's confidence in achieving its economic growth target for 2025 proposed in the government work report, Wang said that a series of policy measures introduced by the country to expand domestic demand and promote consumption will provide more opportunities for foreign investor enterprises, including PepsiCo. Before concluding, let us provide you with the latest updates on global commodities prices. Now to weather's update. That's all for today. Thank you for watching Pulse of Africa.
This is Pulse of Africa, the face of Ethiopia, the voice of Africa.